listening to the Intrepid radio program with Scotty Roberts. Intelligent Talk.
Happy Monday evening, folks. This is Scotty Roberts. You're listening to my show, the Intrepid radio program, right here on the Odyssey Radio Network. That's ODYSY1.com. Come on over, see all the goodness that's Odyssey Radio. Let me take a sip of coffee. Coffee. You know, there was a day where we do radio and it was all coffee and cigarettes. And now, of course, I don't smoke anymore. So, it's hard to do coffee and cigarettes anymore. And you can't do it in the house anymore either. So, that was 20 years ago. So, let's move on. You can also watch this show and its videos simulcast over on my YouTube channel where you could be watching me have coffee and smoke. But we don't smoke anymore. So watch the video, join the live chat room that's over there. That's the most important feature of the YouTube channel. That's joining the other Intrepids and watching the video simulcast of this show. And you can join, subscribe to my channel, and get notifications of this show every day over there. You can also hit the join button. It says join, Join. You can join my channel and become a member of this channel. And there are 3 different levels of membership. Go check them out. Become a member. Become a paying member of my channel. That gets you benefits. It gets you perks. You can go see what they are. And it throws a little ching into the coffers over here. So I appreciate that. It also makes about 30% of that goes to YouTube. So I thought I'd let you know that. You're supporting YouTube at the same time. So there it is, folks. There's the introductory matter to this show, and let's move into it now. How's your Monday going? Was it a good day for you today? It's kind of nice up here. It's Christmas week, which technically started yesterday, but it's the most wonderful time of the year. So they say, Christmas time. We got 5 days till Christmas. Do you have your shopping done yet? We've got most of ours done, pretty much all done. We also have, gifts that we give early. That's the one thing. Rainey likes to start shopping for Christmas in January. And we do it all throughout the year. We see things, we stash stuff in the closets, in the storerooms, the garage, so kids can't find them. So you got stuff all year. And then sometimes you end up using those gifts for rewards or something. Yeah, go get that thing we bought. We got 4 months till Christmas. Grab that, and you reward a kid with it. You go, hey, if you do this thing and that and that and that, you get to earn this. And you hold that up. It's like, oh. And, of course, I do that with my wife, too, you know. It's like, if you do this, I'll give you this early Christmas present. And so it's usually like my wife and I are always, we buy stuff for each other for Christmas gifts or birthday gifts. They never make it to the birthday. They never make it to Christmas Day because you're like, I want you to have this so much. I'm so excited about it. I want you to praise me and, bathe me in affection for giving you this gift. So I'm going to give this to you early. And so there's always the question we throw out at each other. You want your Christmas present on Christmas Day or do you want it now? And it's usually, you do what you want. You tell me. No, I want you to have it now. Okay, I'll take it now. No, I'll save it till Christmas Day. Okay, whatever. No, take it now. And there's the little back and forth, the little games we play. And so we never quite make it to the day of. And I got Rainey this big tin cabinet with all kinds of little drawers for all of her stuff for her journaling and things like that. That she makes these handmade journals, by the way. Go to her Etsy page. Etsy.com/shop/Mama, M-A-M-A, Mama Hathors Studio. So M-A-M-A, Hathors, Hathors Studio. And you can go see what she does. She makes these handmade journals. And there's, you know what? I got one sitting here somewhere. I think I see a bunch of them over there. I'm wondering where, I got to show you off the Egyptian one. Hang on, I'm stepping away from the mic. But that should not be a problem. Because you should be able to still hear me hollering. Here it is. Here's how it's turning out. All right. For those of you not watching audibly, you're going to miss this. Or only watching audibly, you'll miss this. But those of you who who are here. You've seen this before, too. We showed you when it was in an earlier stage. But here's the cover. And it looks like this. And there's the front cover, and I'm holding it with my fingers so it doesn't fall out. There's the little Egyptian scarab with the wings and the sun disk at the top. And so there's the cover, front and back, and the spine. She's still got to put the guts in this book, but this is the book we talked about live one day where she had me paint this one for her to look a little bit like kind of old, worn stonework or woodwork or whatever. And so I said, you know what, let's make it look stone because you're using the Egyptian scarab. And this actually has Egyptian sand that I mixed into the paint. Sand from Gebel El Silsila. And it's very grainy. Now it's all been sealed on there. But that's got Egyptian sand painted and coating the whole thing. You'll feel it when you touch the cover. So this is a very Egyptian book. She'll have this one done up pretty soon. She'll put the guts in and get this affixed in there. And so that's the kind of stuff she does. But I don't know why I brought that up. I didn't bring that up as just an advertisement, but it turned into an advertisement for my wife's stuff. But that's what we do around here. And I don't, like I say, I don't remember why I mentioned that in the first place. So here we are. It's Monday. I hope your week is going well. Oh, these gifts. We're talking about gifts and stuff. By the way, if you want one of these books for a Christmas gift, I don't think it'll make it there by Christmas now. But if you order it, and I think if you want to pay a little extra to Rainey, she could probably get it to you by Christmas if you want to use them as a gift. This Egyptian book is going to go up probably later today or tomorrow morning. And you can take it from there. So, advertising or not advertising, just letting you know it's there. That's what we do, and that's what my wife does. She's fantastic at that stuff. So let's move into our matchstick courage. It's called Spark Courage, 50 Ways to Be Bold. This is not mine. I didn't create this. Just something I found because I found it at a garage sale. It's got these, if you don't know this already, it's got these faux matchsticks inside. And if you can see the video, you can see them holding them up. And on each one is written some kind of saying. So let's pull a new one out for today and see if we can find something new for our matchstick boldness, our matchstick courage. That one we just did the other day. It's funny that comes off of the bottom. So, let's see. Here you go. This is all about visualizing and manifesting. You see what this says? This says, generate a detailed mental picture of you achieving all of your goals. So, how do you be bold? How do you be courageous with this? Generate a mental picture of yourself achieving your goals. Instead of just saying, oh, I really hope to build a house this next year. Instead, mentally view yourself making your house. Making the arrangements you need to make in order to get the kinds of loans you need to get to do something like that. Or bring in the raw cash to do something like that. Visualize what you want. And this is that whole thing, I think, of being awake, not woke. Every time I say be awake, I'm going to make sure I also mention it's not woke. It's not political wokeness. That's stupidity in my book. Being awake is being awake and being aware and being awake of the universe around you. So it has nothing to do with politics. Everything in the world falls under the category of being awake. So be awake and visualize what it is you want. Intent. Visualization. This is saying, see yourself doing the things that you want to accomplish in your life. What do you want to accomplish? Long-term goals, short-term goals, near, far, like Grover said on Sesame Street. So, and by the way, if you didn't know it, that was Frank Oz who did the original voices on those. It's the same guy who did Yoda. So when you hear Grover or Grover saying, I am running away. I am running very far. I am far away. Now I am running close. I am near. That's the same guy who did the voice of Yoda.
Ooh, Yoda. You seek Yoda.
And so, there it is. That was for free. So, do you visualize your goals that way, near and far? Here are my goals I want to get done today. My goals I want to get done this week. My goals for next month. My goals for the year 2021. My goal is I want to, by the time this lease is up in our townhome, which is, and we have the option of either staying another year and re-signing or moving out, sometime late summer, August to September. I want to be able, by August of September of 2021, be able to say, I have bought a little bit of property, I'm buying a house, and I want to move forward. There's actually a house we would love to buy right now. Some of you know Rocky Stucci. You saw when he did a mini paranormal investigation up at a house in Osceola here. Just a couple of weeks ago he did that. And that house is for sale now. It's $500,000, but it's a damn cool house. It's a cool old mansion. It's got the old refinery for they called it the soda pop factory or something like that, but it's from over 120 years ago. The old stone building out there and stuff like that, and it's on a little plot of land by the St. Croix River, just 20 minutes north of here. And I would buy that place in a heartbeat if I had that money. So what do I do? If that's my goal, if I said I could reach a goal of buying that house, what would I do to make that happen? And I don't have any money to buy that house. I couldn't afford that house. Payments would be almost $3,000 a month. Just the payment on the house. Before gas and electricity and heat and taxes. And, well, taxes are usually into the house, but you get the idea. So what if that was my goal? What would I do? I would visualize it. I would have intent. I intend to do this. I visualize myself doing that, doing the things necessary to achieve the attaining of that house. Now, that might sound all by itself rather materialistic, or rather, I visualize myself having $1 billion by the end of January. Is that going to happen? Most likely not. Are there things you could do to make that happen? Maybe. I don't know what those things are. I don't know what it would take to make that happen in a month. That's probably an unrealistic goal. So you have to set realistic goals, and then you have to determine, is this materialistic? Is there a good purpose behind it? And even if it is materialistic, what if your goal is, I want to have a 75-inch 4K 3D television in my family room? And so is that materialistic? Yeah, hell yeah, it's materialistic. What does that do to better your family, to better the world around you? Probably nothing, other than to give you great entertainment time and time to relax and all of that good stuff. So you visualize and you can attain that goal. And because it's materialistic doesn't make it bad or wrong, but it does make it a thing of, you make sure you understand the category that's in. This is for me. This is materialistic. There are also goals that you want to attain to better yourself, to better your family. If a big house on a hill, a haunted house, a great old house for $500,000 is something that is good for your family and there's a reason behind it. Maybe that's the thing that I've always said. If Rainey and I did that, it comes with all kinds of land. Why not start a little farm? Why not start the lavender business that we talked about? Why not start the berry patch and the pumpkin patch stuff? All that neat stuff that Rainey wants to do, and run it out of that old building that's on the property. Why not do that? Turn that into a lavender refinery. Employ people. Make the thing work. There's a goal. Is that materialistic? In part. But in part it's also something. So this, all I'm saying with that, it's an example I'm using, an illustration, is that if you want something, if you have a goal, set the goal, put your intention out there in the universe, visualize yourself achieving that goal. How do you achieve that? Is it hammer and nail and screwdriver? Is it doing something that makes your money to actually attain the thing that you need to have. Visualize that, and then you manifest it. How do you manifest something? Things are manifest, by the energy that you put into them. I just dropped knocked Rainey's book on the floor here. Let me pick that up. I don't want to leave that under my stool and under my feet there, but there it is again. You can see that up close. So, what's your goal? What are your goals? Set some realistic goals. Visualize yourself achieving those goals, and then manifest it. Do the things that make that happen, and keep putting that energy out. Now, I've been talking more materialistic things. What are some other goals? What about goals of having satisfaction, of being content with life? What about goals of putting yourself out there to help other people? What about goals of furthering your family, making your family a safe and wonderful place for your family to grow up? Of overcoming the problems you have in your relationships, overcoming rocky points with family and kids. Can you put those out there as intentions and then visualize yourself reaching that goal? I want my children to be happy. And now, I can't make them happy. Everybody makes themselves happy. But you know what a parent will do for kids? We sure set the environment and set the stage for those kids to have an environment where they can be happy and create happiness. You don't want to have an environment where your kids are constantly worrying and constantly stressed and constantly so on and so on and so on. So you find ways and you work that. You visualize yourself attaining those things and you manifest it. I'm no Joel Osteen. I'm not like, and the Lord has made us to be rich. I'm not into that kind of thing. But I am into the universe working on our behalf, because we visualize and we manifest and we make things happen. And we don't sit on our hands or with our thumbs in anatomically unlikely locales, but we make things happen. So there's your courage goal for today. What does that do for your courage? How does that bolster your courage? How does that make you bold? It builds your courage up because you are the one that is getting courageous to not just set the goal, but to visualize it and make it work to happen. That's boldness. It takes boldness to make that happen. So, there you are. Go out and do this. Now, we've got a few minutes left in this first segment. We're going to start launching into the continuation of our little series. It's a mini series of the holy language, or the sacred language. And sacred language, we've been talking about that for a week now. The holy language, those building blocks, the same building blocks of the universe started with the same building blocks of language. And we've gotten all the way up to start talking about the Word. We ended last week on Friday with the verse in the Bible that says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. And the same was in the beginning with God. And nothing that was made without the Word." And so the Word, we've got this initial perspective and understanding of what this holy language is now over the last 5 days. And you might begin to wonder, where does the power of writing and language dwell? What's the source of that? Where is that coming from? Why is it what it is, this holy, sacred language, this foundational language that spoke all that is into being? Should it be asked, is it really and truly possible that writing and language can have inherent power, capability, command to create and construct all life as we know it? Now, you know as well as I do, the written word can move us to action. The written word can make us, you read a good book, or if I write something and I want to move you passionately, I could do that with words and language. This is the same act of creation. the same as the act of creation. That we have power, our words have power to construct, to break down. They have capability, they have commanding presence. This morning, when I was driving my kids to school, I lectured my son. And it wasn't more, let's take it out of the category of lecturing. I yelled up my son pretty good, and I was pretty harsh with him. Mostly because waking him up in the morning is a chore, and he makes it a chore for everyone. And there are things we could do to make him resent that, but or to grow through it, resent the fact that he's treating everybody badly. But you wouldn't think it of him because he's a sweet person. But mornings are rough on him, and I told him, I don't care how rough morning is on you. You control your words. You control your actions, meaning you govern them. You make those things work, because right now, you're hurting other people around you. Your sisters, your mom. I said, you're wasting my time. I get up to make sure that you are ready to go to school. You don't have to like school, but you've got to go. It's a responsibility of yours. It's an obligation of yours. And so I make sure I'm here for you, but then you kind of snub your nose at your mom and me for getting ready. And if that guilts him a little bit, I'm okay with that. Even though I don't believe in guilt as a motivating factor. But I say, look, we're here for you. I'm not going to waste my time if you're not going to make that work. And I won't drive you to school. And you'll fail, and you'll have to repeat the year, and then you'll be a loser in life. Yeah, it's kind of the way I'm saying that a bit tongue-in-cheek. And so this morning, though, he's been asked for weeks to pick up his room. He's lost his gaming privileges over it. He's lost his television privileges over it. He's lost other... He doesn't go out that much. There's not many kids... We live in a little different town than the school is in, and there's not a lot of kids from school around here, although there's a few in the neighborhood. He hasn't made those friends. They all go to different schools. And so all that to say, he's got opportunities to do things, and he doesn't take them. And he loses his privileges. And so I yelled him up pretty good about it this morning. I said, you've gone now 3 weeks with your mom asking you to... I said, you will get that done. And I was bombastic. I mean, he cried. And I felt so bad for making him cry. But that's that whole thing of, this is going to hurt me more than it does you. I didn't take a switch to him or a paddle or the belt. I didn't do that, but I sure yelled him up. I didn't degrade him or belittle him, but I yelled him up. And you know what? My language, my words were a powerful thing to him, and it made him cry. And so when we were done, I said, you got the message? I said, I'm done yelling. I said, let's move on. And I grabbed him by the leg, and I patted his leg because I was driving. And then I gave him a big hug on his way out the door. And he knows it. He knows. So all that, the point being, is language and words are powerful. They can be used to create and instruct in life. They can be used to degrade and deconstruct life. And so the answer to this can be found in the opening of Genesis, in which God tells us that he is single-handedly creating the heaven and the earth by his very word. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. And we're going to pick up with that when we come back. Sit tight.
Are you looking for a really awesome and amazing graphic designer? How about an illustrator or a photographer? This is Rainey Roberts, and I wanted to tell you how you can get my designer, illustrator husband, Scotty Roberts, to work for you on your project. Do you have an awesome self-published book but no cover, or even worse, a cover that really sucks? Do you need a kick-ass logo for your company or some f***ing awesome graphic designs for your ads or website? Then get in touch with my husband for the best f***ing awesome kick-ass design and illustration. He knows his stuff, and he's been at this for more years than I've been alive. Go to ScottAllenRoberts.com. That's Scott with 2 T's, ALANROBERTS.com to take a look at his online portfolio of work, or call 651-468-8115. Now go out and kick some ass with some kick-ass graphic design.
Hire my dad so he can take me to Disneyland.
All right, gang, thanks for sitting on through that break. Welcome back. This is Scotty Roberts. This is segment 2 of tonight's show. You can listen to this show over on Odyssey Radio in its audio format, and that's ODYSY1.com. Come on over to Odyssey Radio, see all the goodness that's audio. That's Odyssey Radio in the audio, and look at all the places where you can find the archives of this audio show. And you can also come over to my YouTube channel and watch the video simulcast. Join the live chat room of Intrepids going on right now, that live show. And that's over at my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/Mr. Scotty Roberts. At the same time, subscribe, then hit the little bell button over there. You'll get announcements of this show. And you can join my YouTube channel. Just hit the join button. You have 3 different levels of membership you can join. Go look them over, see the perks that you can get for becoming a member of the Intrepid radio program. Thanks for being here. Thanks for sitting on and waiting for the second half of this show. I think we have some good stuff going with this word. And I want to clarify something, by the way. Using the illustration of my son and my family, I used that illustration. If you didn't quite catch the full impact of that, yelling at my son this morning, let's put it this way. Yelling has a different connotation. With a very raised voice, being emphatic with my son about what I wanted him to know, I brought tears to his eyes. He cried. Why? Because I don't normally talk to him that way. I was making a point, and that point I was making is also illustrative of how powerful words and language can be. Now, I didn't say anything to try to diminish my son. I said things to make him understand very clearly that he was dishonoring his mom, disrespecting his mom, and at the same time me. And I wanted him to get that, and I said, there will be consequences for you, further consequences if you don't do this. So the point of that whole illustration was to let you know that my words, the spoken words, language, were used to either build or deconstruct. And that, I hope, while deconstructing his wall, whatever that is, it was constructing his ability to start learning how to respect his parents and to honor his mother's words. And so that is what that illustration was about. This is all about language, holy language. Maybe my yelling didn't sound holy to him. Maybe my yelling didn't sound sacred to him. But the words, language itself, is the thing that is used to convey something creative, to build things up. The originator used language to create the universe. Why? Because language is powerful, and words have contextual power to them. That's the power of words. That's why we do this boldness stuff at the beginning of the shows. Helps you formulate your own holy language that helps build you, create who you are. You are the originator of yourself. So, remember it said, and God said, let there be light. And there was light. He spoke that. God said. He spoke, let there be light. And from this passage alone, we learn that there's great power in words. God said, God said, God said is everywhere in this passage. We kind of covered some of this idea before. The scriptures make it known that the literal word is the sole substance to all life, consisting of the physical and material world in which God generated substance from nothingness. And he formed letters combining words, which subsequently became the physical world and all that was in it, the physical universe and everything that's there. He created substance out of chaos, as well as non-existence into existence. This is the mother tongue. And that, by definition, is the one God and a unity underlying everything. This understanding is further followed up by John, where he said, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God." Now, what is the Word exactly? Common sense tells us it's the science of physics. The Word was or is vibratory in nature. And let's examine this. Sir Isaac Newton was perhaps the most recognized among scientists in terms of physics in his day. The scientific study of matter, of energy, of force, of motion, the way they relate to each other. Amazingly, most if not all of Newton's ideas come from the Bible. The notion of gravity. Job 26:7 said, "He stretches out the north over the empty space. He hangs the earth on nothing." However, we only need to examine one verse that sums it all up for us and puts it all into perspective. So colossal and complete is the Bible in its first opening verse of Genesis 1 that it contains all the physics related to our existence in the matter of 5 superseding terms. In the beginning, time; God, force; created, action; the heavens, space; and the earth, matter. So the 5 superseding words: time, force, action, space, and matter. It's that plain and simple. God wrote the laws of physics. I cannot change the laws of physics. I've got to have 7 days. Or whatever. So God made those laws of physics: time, force, action, space, and matter. And to explain frequency a little better, physics also involves the properties of sound, or vibratory frequency, and light. God said, "Let there be light." Said and light. Physics involves the properties of sound and light. So to explain frequency a little better, it's the number of times that something such as an oscillation, a waveform, or a cycle is repeated in a length of time. And this is the ratification regarding both frequency and light, since everything consists of atoms, and each atom having a nucleus with electrons rotating around it gives each atom a particular set of vibratory frequencies. So there's only a nucleus surrounded by an endlessly rotating wave. Therefore, existence as we know it is vibration. So when we boil this down to the nitty-gritty and separate the atom into smaller subatomic parts, it's continually being discovered that all that exists are particles and waves. Now, it's this particular particle that acts as a wave. It's called a photon. And in essence, a photon is a light particle. It's consisting of invisible light. So wait, let's back it up. What do we got? We got these 5 words. You can find it. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Holy language. And those 5 things that break down out of there is time, force, action, space, and matter. And then you also have sound, vibratory frequency, and light. So those things, all those things, and you've got the light and the particles and the waves. And in this particle that acts as a wave, there's photon. And in essence, a photon is a light particle. It consists of invisible light. So therefore, when it's completely broken down, words And vibratory frequencies are nothing more than energy and light particles. So perhaps in better comprehensible terms, it can be said that light is actually the only thing that truly exists. Light. Since physics says light behaves as a particle in a wave, and everything is made up of particles that move in waves. So additionally, modern science is on the threshold of discovering that light is the basis of virtually all cellular and systematic function. No chemical reactions can happen in the cell if no photon is present. What is photon made up of? Light particles. Nothing could be closer to the truth, especially when you realize that God, the divine, the originator, the creator, whatever you want to call that divinity, that entity, that God is light. So there's the verse in John 1:5 in the Bible. Again, this is the message we have heard from him and declare to you, God is light. In him there is no darkness at all. Now, is that talking about character, integrity, or is it talking about physical or physics, the particles of scientific physics, that God is actually light? And so thus all the laws of physics are implemented using light. And this might very well be one of the most powerful weapons that exists in the whole arsenal of language in Scripture and science, the connection between God and light. The holy language. Like I said, remember, you can use language as an originator to build up, an originator to destroy. Language is powerful. Words mean things. The use of words and the way we use them matters. And I've just broken down why that is. I used the illustration of yelling at my son this morning. Lecturing my son. Used a powerful, strong voice. That powerful voice and volume and words have meaning. But you also have to use other kinds of words mixed in with them. But the bottom line, the building blocks of everything is language. Language means things. Words mean things. If you use your words to build up, you're going to build up. If you use your words to tear down, your words have the same foundational power to destroy as they do to create. So yeah, sometimes we have to do both. So light can be produced from intensive sound waves and friction. This is called sonoluminescence, which is caused by the emission of short bursts of light from imploding bubbles in a liquid when excited by sound. Somebody once said, "We're swimming in a sea of light." That was an anonymous, so I won't give a quote there. But that's one of the most powerful weapons in existence is our words, the sound that comes out of our mouth, the language we speak. This is why this is this whole series, the sacred or the holy language, what existed. When God created the universe out of nothingness, according to the Scripture, he spoke it into existence. He used holy language. So this leads one to wonder, is there something more to the concept of sacred language? And if so, does this vibratory frequency have the power to create things through inherent power? And thus curiosity asks us, has this foundational or fundamental theory ever been tested or put into action by science? And yes, as a matter of fact, it has. There's a special field of study called cymatics, C-Y-M-A-T-I-C-S, cymatics, which involves the investigation, the examination of wave phenomenon in sound. And this involves a current of vibratory frequency that's channeled to a resonating, vibrating plate that has sand on it or fine powder. Now, when the plate with the sand is subjected to vibration in a certain sound frequency, it's been observed that it creates different geometric patterns within the sound particles. And each sound and pitch creates a specific pattern. You get snowflake patterns, square patterns, round patterns, almost Celtic knotwork-looking design patterns, all in the sand because sound being emitted against that plate creates these patterns. Now, take this step a bit further. There have been other experiments done with vibratory frequency being passed through liquids, such as water mixed with cornstarch, thus producing almost lifelike emanations of living things floating in the water, in which the vibratory frequencies push or force the liquids up onto the vibrating plate, as opposed to sand that produces a flat pattern. And so this is the ability of vibratory frequency, cymatics, to not only shape and form patterns with sound, but to actually construct matter into three-dimensional moving forms. And Proverbs 30, verse 18 in the Bible says, "There are three things that are too amazing for me, four that I do not understand." And he goes through and he describes them. But there's also another physical phenomenon that takes place within vibration. In lycopodium powder, which is a very fine powder, the array of figures and patterns that portray actual physical and living life forms that resemble organisms to which we can relate. For instance, the same patterns we see in a branching tree. It starts from the trunk and branches out into smaller and smaller branches. The same patterns we see in that branching tree, along with specific leaf patterns, the geometric or hexagonal design that we find on the turtle shell. Images that look like the spinal cords and bone structures in living creatures. Even images that resemble simple flowers or bugs or insects. It's as if sound is the main culprit and construct in all living and non-living forms. It's feasibly possible to key modulating frequencies that can be used to create shape and form, matter producing and emulating life. It opens up a door to a whole new science, or rather, a very misunderstood science. And perhaps even like the illustration I used of yelling at my son this morning to get a message across and causing him to cry. That is, what did the sound frequency of my voice do to his soul, to his nature? Imagine doing that every day, and that's all you ever teach anybody. What would they be like? What does that sound frequency do? Imagine if we combined that with others and we used our words to build up as well. What kind of healthy situation are you putting onto the people that you love the most with the way you talk to them? Language means something. You see, this all has a very practical outcome when we're talking about holy language, the building blocks of the universe. This language that is the divine source, if you will. Never thought of that before. Maybe some of you have. I know it was new for me when I first stumbled on this, is that, holy crap, language means something. Words mean something. The way we talk means something. There's the foundational, it's the frequency foundations of existence. But to what lengths is this technology actually capable in today's world? And what are the far-reaching implications of this technology? How can we apply it? How can you regulate it? There's been much research in this area concerning frequency, and it turns out that frequency can be good, and it can also be incredibly dangerous. Governments have restricted and have banned it, and sometimes have put bans on it. There are also certain regulations that the EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, requires. Research has even shown that low frequencies emitted by power lines and home appliances, such as air conditioning fans, computer servers, cars, airplanes, considered white noise, lead to increased stress and heart palpitations. The military also uses frequency for communications, such as in a marine sonar from submarines and military ships at sea, which unfortunately also happens to be a specific type of frequency that affects marine animals such as whales, causing them to beach and even die. Frequency is also employed into weapons. The military's devised frequency weaponry in war called sonic weapons, which use what's called infrasound. Infrasound is a powerful, ultra-low frequency acoustic wave in which sound waves below 16 hertz bypass our ears, but can be felt by our bodies in the form of vibration. Back to that whole thing of sound and vibration. And all the sound that we hear from the lowest bass to the highest treble is between 16 and 20,000 hertz. So sound waves above or below those levels can't be heard by the human ear, and it's these vibrations, dependent on their intensity, that some researchers say can induce a range of ill-feeling symptoms from nausea, headaches, vomiting, queasiness, dizziness, disorientation, imbalance, intense irritation, sweating, and potentially a burning sensation on the skin that it heats up when it heats up the body. And the worst case scenario is that it could rupture internal organs and cause death. And these frequencies can be used as a high frequency or a very high-pitched sound, which can be audible to the ear and affect the brain. And modern medical science has even employed frequency into medical machines, medicines. For instance, machines that use lithotripters, use sound waves, or what's commonly known as ultrasound. You ever go get an ultrasound, ladies? I've been to ultrasounds with my wife. See the baby, see the baby's face, see the baby moving. Oh, that baby has a penis. It's a boy. So ultrasound, we're familiar with that. They use these lithotripters or sound waves to shatter kidney stones. They use sound to do that. In fact, ultrasound frequencies have even been discovered to kill microbes seen under a microscope. So ultrasound frequencies have been used to repel vermin, pests, rats, mice, insects, as well as being used to kill and destroy bacteria and pests on fruits and vegetables and nuts, especially those that come from foreign countries. And they've even been used to remove stains from cloth and other things. So certain frequencies have been found to heal bone. The cat's purr has been found to be this beneficial frequency. The cat purr has a very special quality and feature about it. It's not just a specific breed of cat, but with all cats, even lions and tigers, the frequencies of a cat's purr has been found to heal bones, heal tendons, ligaments, joints, muscles, healing wounds, reducing infection, swelling, pain relief, and pulmonary disease of all living things. Imagine, so could you just lay in a bunch of cats at night and go to sleep and have them all purr at you? And that takes away your body aches and pains? I don't think it works quite that way. But compared to other animals, cats don't ordinarily get chronic pulmonary disease or bone disease, muscle and tendon injuries as much as dogs do. The purr seems to be this constant strengthener. Cats rarely get cancer, but when they do, it seems to only be in their lower extremities, such as the legs, where the frequency is reduced. So there's frequencies that reveal themselves in nature. Sound. And of course, you see, we're extrapolating that into spoken language and word, the holy language. So sound and vibrancy or vibration. We learn more about the balanced nature in the forest and garden. We discover that certain sounds and frequencies, such as the noise of birds, the buzzing of bees, and the crickets, cause flowers to bloom and even ripen fruit. Did you know that? So an opera singer sings with the same resonant frequency as a crystal wine glass. Or Rainey's sitting over there. She's got these Himalayan bowls. Rainey, you got the bowl handy? I'm going to have her come over here and do that. Now, I don't understand everything about the frequency of the Himalayan bowl, but here, look, she's got this.
I got a bowl.
So listen to this. Once she gets it going. Hear that frequency coming from that? Or that vibrancy? Thank you, Rainey.
You're welcome.
You can go back and do your thing. All right. Thank you. That was cool. I'm glad she was there. That just kind of fit into exactly what we're talking about. Now, I don't know about... I should look into that, and we'll talk about maybe doing bowls. Have Rainey on to talk about what those bowls are for. She got that because she wanted to see what it does. I know the Himalayan monks...
And they're going to be put up on my site.
She's going to put them up on her Mama Hathor's site, too. So she'll explain all that stuff to you one of these days. Very soon. Maybe this week we'll have her on the show and have her talk about that. Then she can research it. I've just delegated that to her. So there's frequencies that reveal themselves in nature. And like I just ended up saying, it's birds, it's bees, it's crickets. All of these things can affect the blooming of flowers and the ripening of fruit. I love the sound of a cricket at night. I once said I was writing... Remember I told you I was writing a book? It was called The Paper Boys. I told you about that, and that was a long time ago. And I started that 30 years ago. I was in Detroit when I started writing that in 1990. And I wrote about that, and then early days of computer, I lost the whole thing. It just disappeared on the computer, and I didn't know to back it up several times, so you got copies of this stuff. I was, very fresh in 1989 in computers. So, but I wrote about the crickets, and I said... I opened the book with saying, the crickets sing to me. And I ended the opening chapter with, I'll never kill a cricket. And that's because of the sound they make and the frequency it has. Imagine yourself, just take yourself visually in your mind's eye for a moment. Close your eyes, unless you're driving. And think about sitting out on the porch or the grass in the evening in the summer, after the sun's down and the stars are out, and listening to the crickets and what that does for you. That's the power of frequency and the power of vibration. An opera singer who sings with that same crystal resonance that can shatter crystal of a wine glass. That's where we brought Rainey, and I was talking about that. This occurs as a result of the external pressure being greater than the internal pressure, collapsing it inwardly. In addition, the construction industry uses sound to break up concrete. So, most amazingly, it's even been discovered when intensified radio frequencies pass through salt water, it ignites into fire. This is sound frequency. Can start a fire in water. What's actually taking place is rather simple. The vibration of the radio waves shakes the oxygen molecules just hard enough to break the hydrogen bonds, thus freeing the hydrogen gas, which then ignites and burns. Scientists stood in wonder when they witnessed this phenomenon. And however, we must now ask ourselves that if a frequency can ignite fire in salt water, we have to consider what else frequency can do. The potentials are far-reaching. Frequencies can also heat up and incinerate certain metals. Soon anti-gravity may be discovered as well as a cure for cancer and other illnesses. It might even be possible to cure diseases and illnesses with words that have intoned in them certain healing frequencies. Tradition tells us that through recitation of singing, the singing of Hebrew texts in the Hebrew culture, such as the Psalms, had the power to heal a person who was gone out of sync and is capable of directly affecting the nervous system. We see this in Native American culture, many other cultures as well. Frequency also has a huge impact on the environment. The Earth has a resonance of 6.8, 7.83 to 80 hertz. And this is also known as the Schumann resonance. But the most beneficial frequency on Earth is said to be the 6.8 hertz frequency. In fact, all life on Earth is contingent to this very frequency. We need it for overall health and well-being. And you know what? We're out of time. I got more to say about frequency. There's things about frequency we don't even know or fully understand yet. experiments done with frequency that seek to clean pollutants out of the air, the ground, and the water, and so on. We'll talk about that tomorrow. I want to thank you all for being here. You go out, manifest, like we said with our matchstick courage, or spark of courage earlier. Go out and manifest something good for yourself and visualize yourself doing that thing to achieve your goals. So you go out and have a good night, good day. We'll see you in 23 hours. Sit tight.